people are looking at you and they're probably thinking, oh, he must be like 25. How old were you when you changed your career? Now, you did agricultural economics. You've worked as a banker.
Yes.
You've worked in a school. Now you want to change to IT. What did it require of you? Did you have to go back to school? Did you learn it on YouTube?
We started with family meeting. We counted the cost. We sat down with an Excel sheet. If there's anything like 1,000%, it was worth it. I would really do that over and over again.
Hello, and welcome back to the Moneymatics podcast. My name is Omobobola, and today I am making good on my promise that I made on the last episode to bring someone who changed his career and went on to earn almost double his former salary. And that person is none other than my husband. So he's here on the show. Usually he's behind the camera helping me with everything. But today, hi, sweetheart.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. My name is Oluyinka. I'm married to this wonderful woman and we have 2 kids. That's all about me.
That's good. So tell us, what do you do? What's your current job, profession, career? Yeah.
Currently, I work as a software tester and I test web applications and mobile apps.
Okay, that's good. And was that always the case?
No. Several years back, after leaving university, I worked within the banking sector. And if I want to fast forward, I moved to Sweden. And after moving to Sweden here, trying to get into the system to settle down, I discovered I had to learn Swedish because the official language here is Swedish. So through that process, I started working within the educational sector.
Okay.
I mean, working within schools.
Yeah. So you were working in a school and now you're a software, do you say tester?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what made you make the move from being someone who worked in the school? What did you do in the school? Were you a teacher in the school? Tell us what you were doing in the school, and then what made you think of changing to software testing or into IT?
Great. So while I was working in the school, or different schools, I would say, I worked as a substitute teacher.
Okay.
And at some point, I worked as an assistant teacher. And at another time, I worked as
admin.
As an admin and support staff.
Okay.
So I had different roles at different times while working there. And for me, the most important part that struck me, that gave me room to think about changing my career, was all the meetings we used to have.
What kind of meetings?
We had meetings yearly.
Okay, so the salary talk that we have in Sweden.
So the meetings we had yearly that gave you room to negotiate an increase in salary. For me, several years passed and I discovered I got so many awards for working so hard.
Best teacher of the year, best these,
You remember sometimes I came home with some gifts, some awards, you know.
I mean, teaching is a rewarding job, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. From everyone I worked with. Wonderful staff, wonderful people, wonderful employers, you know.
Wonderful students.
Yeah, wonderful students. Everybody was wonderful, but
the salary was not. The salary was not wonderful. Or was it? Okay.
Yeah, but for I don't know, for the roles I played, I would say it was worth it. I mean, it was good. I could smile home. But then after a while, you begin to discover, okay, despite all the efforts I'm putting in and despite all the awards I'm getting.
The meetings were producing...
Well, no, the meetings were fantastic. Of course, you got recognized. Everybody wants to be recognized.
I mean, you were talking about the yearly meetings that you would have about salaries.
Yeah, exactly. So even in the meetings, it was like acknowledged.
You've seen how much.
Job. Yeah, that's what I meant. So the meetings were fantastic, year in, year out, where we had conversations like, what have you been doing and how has that been? And even before you said half of what you had done, the management was quick to remember that you have been very effective. You had gotten feedback from parents, from students alike, and staff members. But that didn't change the decision about the pay raise.
Yeah, the salary
increase. It was almost like fixed. They could actually predict how much they were going to give you. And they had this slogan about fetching from a pot. Like a common pot.
Yeah, that's a very Swedish thing, but that's a topic for another day.
So that was a defining moment, or those were defining moments for me. And I've been thinking gradually, year in, year out, for a few years. And what made the move quite important eventually was when some roles, even within the school system or the educational system, were put out and I applied. I was restricted at some point because you needed to be qualified as a
To
teacher.
be a qualified teacher,
Yeah,
okay.
you needed to be a qualified teacher to be able to go for some of those positions within the educational sector. Yeah, so that was like a defining moment.
So-
and if I wanted to go back to school to like go higher within the educational system, it would take me like 3 years.
Okay, 3 years to do that, yeah.
So that got me thinking, okay, after 3 years, I would actually be able to get some roles better than the roles I had.
Yeah.
But when I checked statistically online, I saw that, okay, even with those roles,
Yeah. The salaries
were going to be pegged at some point. And I asked myself, okay, is that the point I want to get to? And you and I know the answer was no.
Yeah. So for someone else that is maybe in a teaching profession and they love it,
Yes.
for them, the move might be to say, okay, how can I change from just being a teaching assistant to being a teacher? What was it for you, apart from just like, okay, you check the statistics, the money might not necessarily be at the level that you wanted. What else was it that made you feel like, okay, because I remember we used to talk about that because that was the time I was like, oh, maybe you can do if you wanted to teach, you could just go ahead and get the certificate, or maybe later you could become a school principal. What was it for you that made you say, okay, maybe that's not the path I want to go? Was it more of passion? Was it more of desire? Was it more of like, okay, I just want to try something else out there?
Thank you. I am quite adventurous in that sense, I would say. So all along, while I was getting the awards, still enjoying my job within the school, I had interactions with different friends who work within the IT space. And that had been looking like attractive to me. So for example, you talk to someone who is a software engineer and the person tells you how the job or what the job description looks like, what they work on. You talk to an IT architect among my friends, and then they tell you the kind of things they do.
That's true. Yeah, and I remember also another thing that probably made you like was during COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
COVID time, many people were working from home, and as a teacher, you couldn't work from home because I think that was a big deal.
Well,
you did mention.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, you're correct. But I'll quickly mention that even teachers, qualified teachers, could work from home.
Okay.
But then I was not a qualified teacher.
Different.
I have a degree, but not in education, right? So at that point, the certified teachers or qualified teachers had the right to work from home. But because I worked with the admin and support team, I couldn't work from home.
Okay.
I had to be on site.
So you started feeling like, oh, to work from home, it looks like these IT people are enjoying it. It's flexible.
Of course, it was quite flexible. So yeah, flexibility. That's a major part of one of the things that got me attracted to IT. Yes.
So walk us through, because it's one thing to change from one job to another, and we only talk about the money aspect of things, but we also know that a lot of it is not just the numbers. It's a lot of emotions, a lot of things that you have to think about when you're changing. So when you now decided, I'm going to change into IT, walk us through the mental or the psychological changes you had to also make to finally arrive at that decision.
Okay. Yes. That reminds me, while I was working within the different schools, I considered doing a master's program within agricultural economics from my first degree. I did that for 1 year, you remember?
You actually did go back to study, to do your master's.
I tried a master's in rural development and natural resource management. Yeah, it sounded so fancy.
Yeah, it was very fancy. Like, oh, this looks like a good addition to agricultural economics. So what happened with that?
Yeah, good. So
what did you discover about yourself during that?
Out of the 2-year program, I did 1 year out of 2 years. And that was quite challenging because I had to write a lot of papers. I had to refer to a lot of people.
Yeah, I remember that was always a problem. Like, why do I have to mention who said it first when I'm also thinking it now? It was academic writing was your names.
That's the word. I even forgot about it. Yeah, academic writing was quite a bit of a challenge. And it was quite far from home. Remember, I had to commute for an hour, 15 minutes thereabout, one way, 2 hours, 30 minutes to and fro for that period while I was trying to get my master's. But along the line, I'm happy I tried. I made efforts at least. Along the line, I discovered that was not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's maybe a long story to for another day.
I mean, it's a way of saying that sometimes the path to changing career may not be straight. Like, I start here, I decide I'm doing this one, and I change. Sometimes you make okay, let me try this one. And then for you, it was the master's to see maybe you could do something with that later or get a Swedish education. And then you realize that, okay, you're not really cut out for sitting in class and writing academic papers and all of that.
I was even going to try, I was going to push it to the end, at least to get it done. At least I did 1 year. But one thing that struck me was when we had to go for an excursion. We visited 2 different agencies in Sweden. And when we had conversations with the staff and experienced people there, they mentioned how we should consider using our degrees to, change the world, go outside. So it was going to take me out if I finished that degree. So it got me thinking like, okay.
Maybe that's not what I want.
Yeah, maybe that's not for now. And we're just settling down as a family. I felt like I owed my family a lot. I really want to be with my family. Chances of, being posted somewhere outside the country. So it got me thinking. And if I may also mention, during that time, I was also talking to friends. Friends are quite important, and I really appreciate the kind of friends that we have. So I talked to a lot of friends, and just so you know, the conversations were ongoing, and the IT conversations were more because we had a lot of friends around us who were coming in. Some came in here to study. Some got jobs from outside Sweden, moved in here, and they were really, happy about their jobs. So I started thinking in that line.
This is just as we're talking, I'm just thinking of these questions. One thing is I was thinking, do you think the change to IT may not have been IT if your friends were not in IT? Do you think that played a part in choosing IT?
Well, probably, yeah. But most importantly, I would say based on the location where we live, because of the society we live in, IT space was very encouraging. Very accommodating. There were a lot of opportunities to do creative, like well paid. You got well paid opportunities.
That's true.
Yes, and if it were to be maybe in another country, I don't know if I'll have made a different decision.
That's actually true. Yeah. So now you've made up your mind, I'm going to go into IT. How was the change itself? What did you have to do to change to IT?
Thank you. First, I started conversations. The conversations I started before, I continued the conversations. And then it was action time. So a one-on-one conversation with a friend. I pick up this friend's phone number and I speak on the phone for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, where we talk about the different opportunities in IT. Based on my experience, my interests, and boom, we had like 7 branches of IT on the list. And that was where we started from. And before that call was over, I was able to pinpoint exactly what I was interested in.
Okay, and that was at that point software testing. Was it software testing because it didn't involve so much programming and all of that? Because you like seeing where things are not right and fixing them.
Yeah, you know me better than myself, right? Yeah, that's a good one.
We talked about that, like software testing really works for you because you are the kind of person that like, oh no, there's something here, there's something that you pay attention to details. For details, let's call it details are not my mistakes.
Yeah, thank you for that. But basically, I was focused more on the opportunities available. That friend that I spoke with that day was very specific. When we were having the conversation, I was quite sincere with him. Which of these would land me a job almost immediately? And that's about strategy. I know myself. I don't want to do something for 2 years, spend all the time studying and get back only to be at the same place that I left, trying to get a job or get a better job that will pay more. And he was quick to mention that software testing was one area that was very lucrative and had a lot of opportunities, a lot of vacancies.
Okay.
At that point.
After that conversation, now you did agricultural economics, you've worked as a banker, you've worked in a school, but now you want to change to IT. What did it require of you? Did you have to go back to school? Did you learn it on YouTube?
Yes, good, thank you. Yeah, so those sleepless nights. And it's quite difficult to answer all those questions because I believe you know all the answers. You're not doing this for me. You're doing this for that person that is watching at home and wondering, what would it require of me to maybe move from where I am that I'm not satisfied to something else? Exactly. Yeah. So, viewer, I'm going to face you now. When I face my wife, it looks like she knows the answers. So let me face you. So one of the first things I had to do was to look online here in Sweden to check for courses that I could do. And I didn't want to do the courses at a cost because here in Sweden, education is free. So when I went online, I found out that I could do software testing, but in Swedish. And I checked the requirements and I saw that I needed to have a particular level of Swedish.
That's right.
And that's how I started. So I had to take an extra Swedish course to be able to proceed with my application. And the courses that were available were for like 2 years. The course I chose was for 18 months.
18 months. So
yes.
18 months. It's something we call yrkeshögskola here. It's like maybe like a technical Yeah, it's like a technical
Yeah, you
school.
could call it a vocational school.
Or you chose that 18 months you'll be done and there is a prospect to actually have a job.
Exactly. And it was supposed to be hands-on, practical stuff.
So you had to go back and finish your Swedish language courses so that you can actually get into the school.
Yes.
You had to do some programming, some basic programming also. That's to correct. Qualify.
And one of the requirements to get into software testing is to have a level of programming, which I did. I got some courses done.
Okay. And so you did that and then you went to school for 18 months.
Yes.
18. So all that taught. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what it requires to go to school for 18 months for an adult who has a wife and has children. Okay, so I'm facing you. You've been watching a lot of episodes, but you still haven't subscribed. So I just want to ask you to please go ahead and click that subscribe button, click the bell button so that you know when the next episode is going to be out. I plan to continue to bring people here to come and share their experience on how they're changing their financial life one step at a time. So we're back. Yeah. Like I said, so you were to school for 18 months. Even though the tuition is free in Sweden, I mean, you're still going to eat, you're going to pay your rent, you're going to do all of that. You have children, you have a wife, you have a family. How did you deal with cost, the cost of going back to school?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it started with a family meeting, which we were a part of. And I'm really grateful to God for the kind of wife you are. Thank you for being a wonderful wife. So we started with family meeting. We counted the cost. We sat down with an Excel sheet.
Excel.
The visible one, the physical one that I don't like. But we had conversations around how we should do that. Checked our savings and we sat down to estimate how much we would need extra. And I applied for a student loan. Okay. Story cut short.
Yeah. So you had to take a student loan.
Yes.
But I remember at first I was like, okay, you have a job, you can do it 50%, you can do it 40%, take the shifts or the times that you're able and go back to school. And we had that conversation. Why didn't you want to continue working and then study on the side?
Okay, good. Remember, exactly. Remember when I tried studying in a master's program? I did it for 1 year and I was still working 100%.
Yeah.
That was quite challenging. Though my role then was quite flexible in the school. But then I tried it once and I discovered, okay, my mind was divided.
Yeah, you don't work well with doing too many things.
Combine studying and working. So I'd done that before and it didn't really work out well for me. And then I was true to myself and I tried to have that conversation with you. Yeah. And I'm happy that went well. Okay. We had a good conversation at home. And I said, you know what, sweetheart, I'll not be able to combine my studies and working. So that was me speaking and being sincere with myself. So you have to be sincere with yourself.
Yeah. And for somebody that is watching, everybody's situation is different, right? At first, I was like, no way. You can do it. Like I was here doing my master's and I was still working. Like it's doable. And then you were very like, okay, we've done this before. I don't want to do it and leave it halfway, or I don't want to leave it. I don't want to not finish, or it takes more than 18 months. It takes 3 years. Yeah. I just want to get it done with. And then I finally was like, okay, whatever. Let's do the whole student loan thing. Yeah. And the reason why I was not at first really at home with the idea of student loan was I've always studied, like I studied for free. Apart from like secondary school, I went to university for free. I did my master's for free. So just the idea of going to get a loan to study was something that was a little bit foreign or strange. I was like, oh, we don't want any debts. We don't want any loans and everything like that. Correct. But sometimes you have to give to be able to receive back. You have to sow a seed. Exactly. Taking that student loan was more of like, okay, we paid the price and then so that we can reap the the benefit.
But I must be quick to mention as well that the student loan also had different categories. We were smart enough not to max out
The
loan.
student loan.
And that might be good for someone to hear some out there.
Yeah. So even though we could go for the all the money that the government was willing to offer, we chose not to, because at least I was working. So it was like, we don't need to max out the debt and all of that. And that's how we survived for 18 months.
Yeah.
So it's important to talk about the details of these things sometimes. Yeah. Now we've talked about the background, what you had to do and all of that. But now you finished your course and you're working. Was it worth it?
Of course. If there's anything like 1,000%, it was worth it. I would really do that over and over again. And I'm not about to change my career now. No. Because I'm enjoying my job at the moment. I'm enjoying this career. But it was worth it because looking back now, I remember all the questions that came from friends, family, a few people that cared. They really asked sincere questions like, are you sure about this? Why are you leaving the known for the unknown? It always looks greener on the other side. Different slogans, different things came up. But one thing that kept me going was tough times never last, but tough people do.
Okay. Yeah. Was that your slogan?
Yes.
When did you give us a moment that you were like, that brought it home to you that now I've actually done this and I've actually changed my career and it's worth it? Can you share, maybe, was it your first paycheck? Was it your first contract? Was it your first interview? When was that moment when you felt like, this is the reason why I went to school for 18 months?
Okay, thank you. So it will shock you to hear. A month to the end of my internship, I got my first interview. And that was when it struck me, like, okay, this is making sense. Because I was still doing my internship and I was able to apply for roles that I found through LinkedIn, through some friends, suggestions here and there. And then the first interview was in.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, okay, this is making sense. And before the internship was over, I got my first job.
So that was the moment you realized it was worth it.
Yeah, and the excitement kept coming back. Like when we now had conversations around the salary, like the first pay, I was like, okay.
Okay, so and just to give an idea of what we're talking about here, you don't have to tell it, like, we're not giving exact numbers or anything. But in terms of percentages, what was the immediate increase you saw in your income?
The percentage was at least over 50%, I would say. Was it?
Over 50% increase. I think it was even, it was more.
Yeah.
It was more in the gross, I think. The gross income was more.
There are a lot of benefits that came along that I didn't have before.
And just to bring that home, again, the mathematics side of this money talk is the fact that if you invested in the stock market, in a good year, maybe the stock market would do 12%. But going to school for 18 months, first salary is already 50%, over 50% more than what you're earning before. And this is why investing in yourself can be one of your greatest investments ever. Like going back to do whatever needs to be done. Sometimes it may not be school. It may be investing in a new skill. It may be investing in something else. It may be honing a skill that you already have. But investing in yourself would always pay a better dividend than anything else, because nobody can ever take that away from you. You showed yourself that. In fact, to bring this home, because people are looking at you and they're probably thinking, oh, he must be like 25. How old were you when you changed your career?
My goodness. I'm trying to remember now.
How old were you when you changed your career?
Yeah, I was like 41, 42.
I think you were already that was 2000 and what? 2000. Oh, really? 2021, somewhere there.
Yeah, so I was 41, 42, 41, 42.
41.
Yeah, 41. So I was right.
So
41.
Was it 41? It's like we don't know his date of birth. Anyway,
going down.
But you were actually around that 40, 41.
Yeah.
Because you went to school for 18 months, you've been working for over 2 years, and you are on your way to the other side of So you did this when you were 40, somewhere around there. And that's the thing, like, it's never too late to take the bull by the horn and then just go ahead and do something for you. Yeah. So to someone out there who is like, they have like their legs are shaking, they're not sure they can do this, they're thinking that this is what they need to do, but they're not sure, what would you say to them? To that person that is out there wondering, should I do this? Maybe they also have a wife, 2 kids, or they're a single mother, and they are wondering, can I do this? What would you say to them?
Okay, thank you. The first good thing here is you're listening and you're watching this channel.
That's right.
You get wisdom from my wife's blessed channel. Yeah, and where I'm going with that is in the multitude of counsel, there's safety, and that has helped me a lot. It will help you. I'm sure wherever you are, whoever you are, you can always talk to people around you. Good people, by the way. If you have good friends around you, talk to them about what you're thinking about. Take it to God in prayer. If you're a Christian, if you believe that we get wisdom and we get direction by God's divine orchestration, I think I would encourage you to do that. We prayed a lot about things that we did as well, and I think it has paid off. So talk to people around you. Talk to people who are doing things that you're interested in as well.
That's right.
That will help you a lot.
What else?
And if you have a wife, a wonderful wife, please get approval from your wife.
Is that what you're going to tell them? I thought you'd be like, oh, be encouraged. Yeah, you can do this. Go for it. But yeah, I get
we all know those things. The practical steps here will involve people around you, I would say. The practical steps will involve you being very sincere with yourself, talking to the right people. I think you need that encouragement, because if it involves finances, if it involves some money, if it involves emotional support, you need physical support.
You need a good community around you to be able to do this. Yeah.
Yes.
But on the inside, there was a time we were talking about this and you were like, oh, there were times when I was in the train and I look at everybody, they're going to work, but I'm going to school. Yes. So for that person that is probably feeling like, maybe they're already even going back to school and they're feeling discouraged, like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this thing, will it pay off and all of that? What would you say to them?
I'll just remind you that tough times never last, but tough people do.
So they should keep pushing.
Keep pushing. As long as you're encouraged by people around you and you have at least over 50% of some passion for what you're doing or for what you're trying to get at, I think you'll succeed. You'll succeed.
No, that's good. So is this something that anyone that is not satisfied with their current state, job, career should do? Or when would you say, don't do this? Is there any time you would say, don't do this?
Okay. So if I will just go straight to the point, I'll say, you can't keep doing the same thing the same way over and over and expect different results. We've heard things like that. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker, but if it sounds good to you, go for it. If it doesn't sound so good, then you have to find another way to address whatever that issue is. That's the way I see it. You have to be true to yourself to be sure that you like what you want to do or you want to make a change. If you are happy with the state at which you are, then no complaints. If you're not complaining, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the moment you complain or you need something to change, you have to do something different.
Oh, and that's good that you're talking about if you're happy with if you're not complaining. Because I remember we were having like conversations around, but I do still like my job. I like the children that I'm impacting and all of that. Yeah. And the money is there, is not a lot of money, but it's there. Yeah. And we were having conversations around, but our needs are increasing. Our kids are growing up. Yeah. They would need things later in the future. They will need to do this. And then, we want to travel. We want to do things. And so it's like, okay, if I want to do all these things that will require money in the future, then it's important to go ahead and go get that money.
Yeah.
At least in the context of a career for now. Maybe tomorrow it will be something else. Maybe we'll become entrepreneurs. Who knows?
And I would like to also mention that it's always important to allow time to catch up with you. Like, I don't know the best way to put that. Okay, so
allow
things to happen at the right time. So I believe no matter how fast you want things to happen, you should be true to yourself to know that this is how things have worked for me previously. I know the right time and the right decision to make. I know how to make the right decisions. So your decision-making process has to be right as well. You have to make the decisions at the appropriate time.
Thank you for sharing that. I guess that is it. I mean, you've said it. Time is important. Having the right community, because you would need support, is important. And then just going for something that you at least love in this new profession, not just for the money. You must have something that you love, because after a while, you might get tired or you might feel like, I don't want to do this. So don't just do it for the money. You could do it for the money.
Well,
if you are the kind of person that...
you just struck something. I did some part of my career change because of the money, actually.
Yeah.
Beyond passion. So, for example, I am passionate about music.
Yeah,
but I can categorically tell you...
You didn't want to become a music teacher?
No.
So you did
No
it
way.
for money.
Honestly, yeah. There's a limit to which, at least personally from my experience, there's a limit to which my music passion can get me to financially. Yeah, if you get what I'm trying to
Yeah, and you are honest about that. Like,
Yeah,
it's not only
so-
about passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you make a decision that is also strategic.
Yeah, I would say my move has been strategic, and I don't know what the future holds, but I think strategy is very important for you to move to whatever level in life you want to get to. And you have to talk to the right people, strategize, and make that move. As long as you're doing something right, do the right things to get to where you want to get to.
And do what it takes, because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of
commitment,
willpower, discipline to go back to school when you have other commitments. A wife saying you need to take me out for dinner, children who have activities to go to. It takes a lot of discipline to do it.
Exactly.
So you need all of that. Yeah. So beyond the numbers, beyond the figures is the fact that there are human experiences connected to these things that we talk about. When we say go change your career, go to your boss and ask for a pay raise, there is a lot of it that is psychological, that is emotional, and you need to think about those things as well. Until I come your way again and the next episode, this is the Moneymatics podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Ciao.